The storm had passed, but its devastation remained. In 2013, historic floods ravaged Miabi National Park in South Africa, transforming dirt roads into treacherous rivers. Trees lay uprooted, and the thick jungle was eerily silent, as if mourning the lives it had lost. Rangers were dispatched at dawn, navigating through the wreckage in amphibious vehicles. Their mission was clear: rescue any stranded or injured wildlife. Peter, the team leader, gripped his radio tightly. His voice was tense as he reported the worsening conditions back to base. They all knew the flood had taken lives, but had it taken too many? The further they drove, the more destruction they saw. Mudslides had buried sections of the forest, and branches tangled in the rising water, making it nearly impossible to see what lay beneath. Then, through the gray mist, they saw her, a mother leopard standing deathly still in the middle of the waterlogged terrain. Her eyes burned with desperation, her breath coming in short, rapid pants. Something was wrong. Peter signaled the team to stop. As the rangers stepped out into the knee-deep water, they spotted it. Just a few feet away from the mother leopard, barely visible in the reeds, lay a tiny, lifeless cub. The realization hit them like a punch to the gut. Was it already too late? Johan and Lucas, two experienced rescuers, moved cautiously, hands raised to show they meant no harm. The mother leopard growled low, torn between fear and hope. She didn't run. She didn't attack. She just watched. Peter whispered, "She knows we're trying to help." Johan knelt beside the cub and pressed his fingers against its tiny chest. No movement. No breath. His heart pounded as he looked up at Lucas, who was already preparing the resuscitation kit. "Come on, little one," Johan muttered. He pressed his hands against the cub's ribcage and began chest compressions. Lucas quickly fitted an oxygen tube, carefully tilting the cub's head back to clear its airway. The seconds dragged into eternity. Nothing. Peter clenched his fists, his breath shallow. They had to keep going. Johan pressed harder, willing life back into the tiny, fragile body. 1, 2, 3, breathe. The tension was unbearable. Even the mother leopard seemed frozen, her ears twitching, her body trembling with anxiety. The jungle around them held its breath. And then, a cough. A tiny, weak cough. The cub shuddered, its tiny lungs sputtering out river water. It was breathing. A collective gasp filled the air. Peter let out a triumphant shout, "We got it." The mother leopard's ears perked up, and then, she let out a cry that sent shivers down their spines. It wasn't just a growl. It was something deeper, something raw. A mixture of pain and relief, of mourning and gratitude. The cub's eyes fluttered open, dazed, its small body trembling from the cold. Johan gently placed his hand on its head, murmuring softly, "You're okay now." Lucas worked quickly to dry its soaked fur, his hands moving with precision as he wrapped it in a warm towel. The mother leopard took a hesitant step forward. Would she trust them? The tension was thick as she approached. The team braced themselves, ready to retreat if she felt threatened. But instead of baring her teeth, she did something none of them expected. She pressed her muzzle against her cub's shoulder, releasing a deep, vibrating purr. The sight made Lucas's throat tighten. She understood. She knew they had saved her baby. But the cub was still weak. It shivered violently, and the team knew it wasn't out of danger yet. Peter signaled for more scarves and towels to warm it up. Sarah, another ranger, carefully placed a second layer of cloth over the cub, whispering, "Hang in there, little one." They examined it for further injuries and found minor scratches on its legs, wounds likely caused by the raging floodwaters. Lucas disinfected and bandaged them while the mother watched in silence. Johan sighed, glancing at Peter. "Should we take it back to the center?" For a moment, no one spoke. Then Peter shook his head. "No. If it's strong enough, it should stay with her." It needs to learn from her. Johan nodded, understanding. A cub raised by humans would struggle in the wild. But a cub raised by its mother had a fighting chance. As the first rays of sunlight broke through the dissipating storm clouds, the cub let out a weak but determined cry. It was ready. The mother leopard nuzzled it, encouraging it to stand. Slowly, the cub wobbled on its tiny legs. One step. Then another. Peter and his team took a step back, giving them space. They had done all they could. The mother leopard turned her golden gaze toward them, her piercing eyes locking onto Peter's for a brief moment. And then, she did something incredible. She bowed her head slightly. A silent acknowledgement. A thank you. The cub, still weak but determined, wagged its tail once before following its mother into the tall, dewy grass. Their spotted coats disappeared into the wild, where they belonged. The rangers stood in silence, watching them go, their hearts full. They had saved a life. And, in a way, the mother leopard had saved them too, reminding them why they fought so hard to protect this fragile, beautiful world. As the rescue vehicle rumbled away, Peter exhaled, feeling an overwhelming warmth in his chest. A story of love, resilience, and the wild had just unfolded before them. And for one small leopard cub, a new chapter had just begun. In the heart of the wild, amidst the chaos of nature's fury, a simple yet profound truth was revealed: compassion has the power to bridge worlds. The rangers who risked their safety to save the drowning leopard cub did not hesitate, despite knowing the mother could turn on them at any moment. Likewise, the mother leopard, driven by instinct and desperation, placed her trust, however fragile, in the hands of humans. This silent understanding between two species underscores a universal lesson: even in our darkest moments, hope and kindness can create miracles. Life often presents us with storms, challenges that leave us feeling stranded, much like the cub in the flood. But resilience is born not in comfort, but in struggle. The cub, though weak, found the strength to stand again. The mother, though terrified, waited for help rather than fleeing. And the rangers, though uncertain, persisted against the odds. This story reminds us that small acts of courage and compassion can change lives, human or otherwise. When we extend kindness, even when faced with fear or uncertainty, we reaffirm our connection to something greater, the fragile but extraordinary balance of life.